Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Paranormal and Historic Locations and Legends. I'm your I'm your host, Nick Muley. Tonight's topic we're going to be talking about, now that we've got the Amityville horror out of the way, considering that we did 3 parts total. I think it's pretty much time that we need to move on to some other locations because it's been well over almost good half a month that we talked about it. But like I said, tonight we're going to be talking about Wolfe Manor, which is located in Clovis, California. Now, it should be noted very just before we get started, it's not a very long slideshow because I wasn't able to really find a lot of history or a lot, just really a lot for such a notorious location. I was expecting to find a lot more, but for some reason I just couldn't. But I still managed to find a good amount. But fortunately, with what I may not have, why I may not have enough total for the entire show, I'm fortunate enough, like I do with some of these shows, where I do have some paranormal clips that I'll be able to provide to you guys. I just want to give a quick shout out for those because again, I'm always having issues for some reason on StreamYard that I'm only able to see. I basically am looking at two sides of the StreamYard chat. I could see, like, for example, like when people are commenting, I know it's coming from my personal profile, and then the other is people commenting on the Things Network page. But while that's loading, I'm going to get the screen shared. So just bear with me for just a moment. And once again, like as usual, before I apologize in advance for those that do comment that I'm not able to see because again, lots for those that are like tuning in for the first time. Only reason why I'm unable to really read or give shout outs to you guys during the show is because when I do these slideshows, the entire show is on the monitor, so I'm unable to see comments. But oh, wait, just got one right here. Hey, Irene. Yeah, you're finally out of Facebook jail. Awesome. Glad to have you back, Irene. Okay, so let me just try to share the screen right now. Again, I always have difficulty sharing this with when it comes to PowerPoints. Give me 1 second here. What's up, Linda? Okay, try this, and I always have to have my phone with me whenever I do the screen sharing because sometimes it doesn't work for some reason. So I just need to make sure that you guys are able to see it. So give me 1 second here. Oh, okay, we're all right. We got it. Okay, so as I said, the location we'll be talking about tonight is Wolfe Manor. I'm sure a number of you guys are probably very familiar with this location. Sad to know, though, that this location no longer exists. But I still thought it was a very important piece, uh, basically more of an important place, in other words, to add to this list. I actually, believe it or not, what's kind of ironic is when I discovered about Wolfe Manor, it was actually kind of in somewhat connection to the Amityville horror, which was again what we were talking about for the last 3 weeks, and how I discovered. And you're kind of wondering, for example, how in fact does this location tie in with the Amityville horror? Well, there's really no tie-in for the most part. I only discovered it because it was on a show. I don't know if you guys remember. This was a short-lived paranormal series. It was actually a spin-off of the History Channel series Monster Quest. It was a show called Mystery Quest, which was now almost 15 years ago broadcast. It only broadcasted for one season, and only a few episodes came out. But one of those episodes that they broadcasted was an episode called Return of the Amityville Horror. And now the ironic part is, despite the name, the investigators, they never actually went back to the Amityville Horror House to investigate the house itself. So they decided to investigate, I guess you can kind of, as they would call, a more similar location, which was, of course, well over a good couple thousand miles away on the opposite end of the U.S. on the West Coast. And that place turned out to be, as you guys can see, Wolfe Manor. I despite the somewhat similarities of paranormal and whatnot, even if there ever was in Amityville, I don't really see a full connection to between Wolfe Manor and Amityville. But no, I just wanted to just give out basically exactly where I discovered this place and how I got to know it. But anyways, as usual, we're gonna start off with the history. But just before we do, I'm just gonna give a quick shout out to everyone who's tuning in on the on both pages. So give me 1 second here. Okay, we don't have anybody in the comments and things network yet. But who do we have? I know some people showed up. All right, who do we have? Who do we have? Okay, verse. Oh, hey, what's up, Chantel? Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so anyways, for those of you that are unfamiliar with Wolfe Manor, the history about this place, it's relatively pretty dark. There's a lot of dark history to this particular former sanatorium, and ironically enough, this year it actually turned, well, if it was still standing today, it would have turned 100 years old today, because let's give it a good way of starting this off. Clovis, excuse me, Clovis, California is the home of the 8,000 square foot Wolfe Manor. Located at the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains, the Wolfe Manor of Clovis is considered the most haunted location on the entire West Coast. Often called the Black Hole Hotel, as the mansion has a dark history, with so many people have entered the manor, never to leave again. During its most active periods, the Wolfe Manor of Clovis averaged at least one death per day. Now, when I mentioned about how it turned 100, I think you guys kind of get the idea. Wolfe Manor was originally built in 1922 as the opulent mansion and family home for the young tycoon Anthony Andoriadi. I think that's how you say it. I apologize. It boasted an ideal location in the small town of Clovis, affectionately known as the gateway to the Sierras. Unfortunately, quite obviously, it just didn't seem like, even from the very start, it didn't go so well. Unfortunately, his great estate didn't bring him the happiness he hoped for. The high costs of the building's upkeep eventually forced and Andriotti, I have trouble saying the last name, uh, forced him, let's just say that, into bankruptcy. Forced him into bankruptcy. In addition, after working so hard and raising a family, they lost the home in the Great Depression. This led to his demise as he turned to alcohol and met an early death in 1929 at the age of 36. But this early tragedy was only the beginning. The manor seemed forever doomed, a black hole of sadness and doom. So I think you guys probably get the idea and understanding by now that it's quite obvious that even from the very start, they it was already it looked like there was going to be tragedy right from the beginning of this place. I can't imagine, once you build something, or you move into a particular location, the hopes of having, a great life ad, and then all of a sudden, in this case, like for example, like what happened to many people here in the United States when the Great Depression struck, it it just seems like it really does, for example, like as they say, it really did open up a black hole, knowing that there was going to be much more worse tragedies that were furthermore to come. The manor sat vacant during the Great Depression until reopened in 1935 as the Hazelwood Sanitarium, which housed patients dying from tuberculosis. Then in 1942, the Telford family purchased the building and it became the Clovis Avenue Sanitarium. Before 1954, its role was to continue to serve patients with tuberculosis, but in 1943, administrators built a special section onto the mansion to treat both the mentally and physically ill from the close-knit Clovis community. The conditions and lack of care were aggravated substantially by the addition of the new wing. Employees were stretched even further, and patients suffered as a result. Now, right here, this is actually one of the few. I think it was like a special type of. It was like a. I think it was a card or something. I think that's what it was meant to be. This was like the only type of image I was actually able to find. Um, Pretty much during the days when the sanitarium was actually in operation in those days. Um, it's just kind of a little bit hard to believe when you see. It's just so weird to me, in my opinion. You see these, as I would probably say, family friendly looking location. I mean, these family friendly looking business cards, and they're basically designed to kind of help you out. Help you out if you have some kind of disease like tuberculosis, for example, and it gives you like that almost kind of family welcome, if you will. I'm not sure if that's the best way I could really describe it, but you just know for the most part, because unlike hospitals today, uh, hospitals, especially, sanitariums back in the day they were kind of a different type of, they were much different than they are today. That's for sure. So, but anyways, while some visited the hospital for common physical ailments and even to give birth, more often it housed people with mental illnesses that were otherwise shunned from society. Families dropped off loved ones suffering from schizophrenia and dementia and never returned to visit. I mean, you can kind of tell already a place like this, it's sad to think about because this was among one of the many locations, sadly, during the late 19th and early 20th centuries that this practically became a place for people to come, basically to come to die. I mean, just being left there and never being seen by your friends or family members again. I mean, it's just got to be horrible to think about. But anyway, in the 1950s, a 10,000 square foot wing was added to the sanitarium. There were 18 additional rooms to house a new population of patients, most of them the elderly. These rooms were packed with up to 10 beds, and a single nurse could be assigned to 22 patients. Unbelievable. The mansion also housed some of the most violent patients. Multiple murders occurred by patients killing other patients, many by strangulation. Additionally, the mansion was home to multiple patient suicides. One of the most gruesome included a patient who ripped a who ripped a fire extinguisher off the floor and placing the hose into his mouth. He asphyxiated when the contents exploded into his mouth and throat. That's quite a gruesome and horrific death, if you ask me. Thousands of other patients died in the sanitarium due to poor conditions and abuse. Reports show that each nurse was responsible, as like I previously said, for over 20 patients. Patients were commonly chained to beds, showers, and toilets. They were living naked in the hallways and crowded into rooms where they were often ignored or forgotten. The average employee lasted about only 30 days. In the 50 years the sanitarium housed patients due to the extreme stress, horrifying conditions, and the quality of care which was poor, causing many to suffer behind closed doors. Now, that kind of does, as crazy as it sounds, it kind of does make pretty much a lot of sense of why they just didn't really have a lot of staff members caring for a lot of these patients. It's just due to the fact that, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, back in those days, these people that were brought into into this building, as you saw in the previous slideshow, these were people who were not deemed to be fit into society. And unfortunately, especially back in those days, everybody in society didn't want to deal with them, even if they were their own family members. And it's just, again, a horrific thing to think about, in which you're being, you have some type of disability, or you had, whether it's mental, physical, whatever, and you're brought into this basically what's supposed to be a hospital to help you, and the next thing you know, your family member, whoever dropped you off, says goodbye. But you don't seem to realize that once they leave through that door, that's most likely the last time you're ever going to see them. It's just, but as for the employees who work there, I think the reason why a lot of these employees, why the number of employees was relatively few, was not only because people were hesitant to work at a place like this, but as you guys could see, as I just read, I mean, I'm sure I can't imagine what it must have been like for the few employees. I mean, for the few people that were willing to work there just to see exactly, what was going on behind these walls. Because unlike today, where nowadays where we have mental hospitals, to care for people, or retirement homes to care for the elderly, where on multiple occasions they're often monitored. Back in these days, nobody knew what was going on. There was very few of those. I don't know what you would call it, but I guess you can kind of say it's someone associated with law enforcement, to check in on how things were. They didn't do that as much compared to now. So, you know, if, if they're not being checked on, I'm sure, quite obviously, you're definitely going to have a lot of loss of life, and certainly a lot of abuse and neglect. Emergency workers dreaded answering calls from the residents because they usually meant someone had died. The unfortunate patients who perished in the sanitarium were housed in the basement until the local corridor could make the trek out into the country. When things were busy, Clovis staff would store the corpses of the newly dead in the building's cool basement until they could be removed. The room they were stored was called the Pink Room. Often there were as many as 8 or 10 bodies in the Pink Room. The town of Clovis was quaint and scenic, and most considered the sanitarium a black mark on this otherwise idyllic spot. School children whispered creepy activity in the building, and the locals told tales of the steady stream of bodies being carried out. Clovis continued on as a Clovis continued on as a canvas. I can never say these words, unfortunately. Clovis continued on as a convalescent home through the 1980s and fell into great despair. Now, this actually isn't a real photo from the 80s. That's the other thing too. For a location like this, I couldn't find. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot more older photographs of what it was like back in its days, aside from the photos I had. But I wasn't able to find any other photos like as it was falling into disrepair over the decades, including this part, obviously, with the 80s. The facility finally closed its excuse me. The facility finally closed its doors in 1992. The city of Clovis had made multiple attempts to have the building shut down and destroyed. Ironically, that was well about 7 years after it originally opened, and only 30 years ago that it closed. Of course, just like a lot of these buildings, unfortunately, just because the building shut down, that didn't mean it remained empty. Trespassers and vandals crept around the grounds looking for signs of ghosts. If they weren't chased off by the police, they were often scared away by unnatural events. In 1997, Todd Wolfe purchased the house with the intentions of creating a haunted house attraction known as Scream If You Can, providing tours during the Halloween season. However, Wolf quickly found it wasn't going to be fun and games. Excuse me. However, Wolf didn't quickly found out it wasn't going to be fun and games, as dark spirits continually harassed his staff. Wolf didn't believe in ghosts when he set out on this new venture, but the obvious presence of something eerie in the house, an experience with a shadowy figure in Mary's room, changed his philosophy. Gathering some attention, he had a number of psychics and paranormal researchers interested in touring the facility. The site has been investigated by paranormal groups and TV shows, which have captured ghostly voices, footsteps, and photographs of the activity. He allowed them until 2004 when activity seemed to skyrocket out of control. I forgot to show that earlier. Now this is an interesting photo. It's actually a screenshot from a video, which fortunately I do have the video. I will show it to you guys shortly, but I wanted to try to show the photographic evidence first. Employees working around the house have not only seen ghostly apparitions, but some have been physically grabbed by unseen forces. Others have described hearing laughing and the sounds of children, possibly from the original An- Andriotti, Andriotti family. People describe seeing black entities seeming to rush them and having apparitions appear on video. Many have had air breezes and even seen a couple wandering around the mansion. Researchers have problems with the electronics, including malfunctioning and errors. EMF readers utilized by paranormal researchers have wild readings, even though the mansion has no source of electricity. People have also described being pushed, shoved, or had their hair pulled. Doors have opened or shut in front of people with no apparent source. House workers have quit after being harassed by unseen sources or having their work thwarted. Unfortunately, Wolf Mansion visitors are not the only ones affected by the current house guests. The local 911 center reports they were frequently getting calls to the grounds, sometimes in response to 911 calls coming from the property, even though there has been no electricity or working phone service there for years. The operators only heard dead air on the other end of the phone. That would have been cool if they were actually able to get that somehow recorded. I want that makes me wonder now. Now, okay, so unfortunately, this is like I said, this was a relatively short slideshow, but fortunately, I actually do have a couple paranormal videos here I would like to present to you guys. I got about 4 or 5 different short clips. Hopefully, this is. Let me just make sure. Hang on, because it's basically blended into the darkness. So okay, here we go. So this was the first one. Unfortunately, I have the information of what the first one was. I don't know if anything was ever actually captured on this, but they did manage to capture several EVPs. So the way how this is going to work is I'm going to play it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to really be able to rewind it in case you guys do hear something. So I would probably just suggest listen carefully. And if you guys couldn't hear it the first time, you're probably just going to have to go back. Excuse me. You'll have to probably just go back and wait for the replay so you can hear it. But anyways, here we go. So here is the first clip. This was from 2008. This was from the Martinez Paranormal Group. Jeez. Okay, it is playing. Oh yeah, Scott Grunwald was in this. I'm just going to pause this quickly. This was from a series that was made. They made 2 different seasons out of this. This was a series that was called, I think it was called The Haunted Wolfe Manor. It was like the first, they made a first kind of mini series, if you will, back in 2010. They only made 2 parts, and then they made a secondary series, which was made in 2014. There was like a 5-part series. I think it was literally right before Wolfe Manor was demolished. And it all comprised of the same team. It was Scott Grunwald. Ted Wolfe was part of it. And I can't remember who the third guy's name was, but they were able to get at least in my opinion, they got some pretty interesting evidence at this place. So, anyways, just wanted to point that out so you guys know where exactly did I get these clips from. Of course, I don't claim any ownership, just borrowing them. Anyways, here you guys go.
How you doing, Bubba? We're in the pink room. Being scared.
So I'm just going to pause this just for a sec. I remember which clip this was now. This was obviously like an EVP session that they were doing. But the interesting part is, unlike a lot of, the most common way how we've always done EVPs during investigations, they not only did an EVP session, but they actually did it through a phone, which would explain why Scott is why he's obviously on the phone with somebody. So they're actually trying to try to receive EVPs to see if they can actually get to a phone call, but at the same time still have it recorded to see if whatever's there could actually hear them through the other side of the line.
We're going to use you, okay? Okay, I want you to ask 5 questions, like you're doing an EVP session, and give like 5 seconds before you ask the next one. Like, first one is what is your name? You know what I mean? Wait 5 seconds and do 5 in a row, and I'm going to hang up and call you back. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just going to try to replay it once just to see if you guys could hear that.
I'm going to turn speakerphone. I want you to ask 5 questions. Wait 5 seconds for each question, and then we'll be done. Stand by. Okay, go ahead. Pretty close. Now, Lori, is she? Yeah, let's start with what's her name? Yeah, what is her name? How many years? Second question. That kid just went. Yeah, it did. And she I saw it too. That's why I started playing on it. Yeah. But I didn't do it after the other question. It's just, what's the second question she asked? How many there? How many are there? Yeah. See, that one was it, right? Did it again. With are you alone? How many are you alone? Hi, Lori. We had a response on it. We had a response on the K2 meter. I want you to go ahead and, on the second question, are you alone? Can you elaborate on that? Go ahead. But I asked if you were alone. Is there 2 of you? Are there more than 2 of you? Do you enjoy having Scott with you? Are you angry? What? Thank you, Lord. Love you. Bye.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know about anyone else, but that was, as far as I know, it looked like the only thing they ever got was whatever said "I'm here." I don't know if you guys were able to hear that. I was unable to really hear it myself. I guess it's one of those EVPs that understandably you have to listen through headphones. But I got another clip. This time they were trying to do like the classic recording way. If, in other words, using the this time just using the digital recorder itself, but also still trying to record. So just see if this some of these clips I haven't been able to really watch. So I was only able to really watch a few of them, and they are quite interesting. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, though, there were just a few that I was unable to really, document. In other words, but it's still really cool though, that they were able to do some, pretty major investigations before this place, was demolished. So, and like I said, if you guys are watching, all rights go to you guys. So I got one more. I think I got one more clip after this one. This one's about at least another 4 or 5 minute video.
How much you want to bet that light bulb actually unscrewing right now? I'm shooting it right now.
You think you take the light bulb out?
Come on, don't be weak. Do it for Scott.
Okay, just be quiet, just be quiet. Can you make a sound? Are we bugging you? Do you hate us for coming back to this house?
Okay, so they'll be able to replay this one back.
Do you hate us for coming back to this house? Do you hate us for coming back to this house?
Oh yeah, it's barely audible, but I can hear it.
Did she play hide and seek?
You have to find us. Come touch me.
I'm gonna count to 10, and I'm gonna come after you. 1.
What's up,
2,
Darren?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, playing hide and seek with a ghost is almost impossible. She always wins.
Well, why don't you come find us? You're it.
Oh, that sounded pretty clear. Hiding in a tree. Darren, it's going really well. I appreciate you tuning in. That's really clear. Wow. Okay, so I think I got one or two more clips. And again, I'm glad I found these clips in particular because again, this was without these clips, this would have been a really short presentation. So I know this is obviously shorter than the average of how I always present. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this one. We got okay, so here is the next one. This was in fact, I think this might be the last one. This was obviously another investigation done at Wolfe Manor, but this time they actually brought, I don't know if they were related in any way, but they brought some high school students to investigate. Never fully been explained. I mean, how these kids got involved, other than I assume that they were probably into the paranormal, but the reactions they've given, though, it's quite interesting. So this one I have not seen. So let's give this a try. Let's give this a shot and see what we have.
Is there anybody in here with us?
So I look at the camera. No, don't get the camera yet. No, you better wait. Okay. Oh, I think
Maybe that was the camera crews.
Hang on, let me just pause this for a sec because I see Darren has a question here. This is Darren. This was an investigation that was shot over 10 years ago at Wolfe Manor. This was for a haunted series that was made about Wolfe Manor back then, and I know it was comprised of Scott Grunwald and a few other investigators. I don't think he's in this clip, however, but this time for whatever interesting reason, they brought in some high school students to investigate. And it's kind of funny because this was actually right around the same time that, I was around these kids' ages. And I started a paranormal club back in high school. So it's really interesting. So, oh, hey, Robert, what's up? Good. Thanks for tuning in. You know what? I'm just going to restart this since we were right at the very beginning.
Is there anybody in here with us?
so I look at the camera. No, don't get the camera yet. No, you better wait. Okay. Oh, I think
Maybe that was the camera crews.
Oh, whistle back.
What's going on?
No, my phone was on vibrate. No, it wasn't. I swear to God in my life, my phone was on vibrate. I swear to God. Okay, turn it off and then now look. I'll share it now.
You should answer it and see if it's got.
That's not even funny.
What's going on, Tom?
I know I got scared before.
You're the phone. You're the.
Oh my God.
Hello?
I know I got scared before. I know I got scared before.
Oh, yeah. There's something there.
I know I got scared before.
Cannot find me.
I know I got scared before.
Emily?
Why do we call Emily?
Was that what we were saying before it happened? We have another entity downstairs called Emily. Oh, she's upstairs and downstairs. We actually have a picture of her.
Is Emily a child?
Yeah.
So you
We
called
think.
her, it's your daughter, and you want her to come out.
Sweetheart, how old are you? How old are you, honey?
Yeah.
Sweetheart, how old are you?
Whoa. Check that out.
Sweetheart, how old are you? I have a little girl.
Talk to her like she is.
Come see Mom. Emily.
Okay, what was that hissing sound? Did you hear that? Oh, Scott.
We're moving, so maybe we should not move at all. Emily, sweetheart, do you want somebody to play with? Do you like to play games? Do you want somebody to play with? Do you want somebody to play with? What do you like to play? Seems like to me you're playing hide and seek.
Hey, Dad.
Emily, sweetheart, what's your favorite game? Emily, jump rope, hopscotch. I saw a ball in the kitchen. It was on the counter. Do you want to play with the ball? Emily?
Jesus. That is not a good idea. Sticking your head around a corner like that.
Well, I thought maybe Emily was hiding in there. Emily, you don't have to be afraid. You know what? I have a cousin. Actually, it's my husband's cousin. And his daughter's name is Emily. We call her Emmy. She's really cool. How old are you, sweetheart? Were you born here?
This is awesome. I'm trying to use a mother's point of view to get across to Emily.
Are you pretending to be an angel? It's Emily. Emily. Come out, play.
Okay, that's just creepy.
I have to agree.
Can you sing for us tonight? Do you like
Oh. You hear that, Todd?
Yeah.
That came from behind me out in the solar area.
You like to
That's
sing?
freaking me out.
Where is it? Over here?
It was like a little patter, like almost like feet, but not kind of like a little. Yeah.
Emily? Are you in here?
I know, right? Mom.
Yeah, that's
Mommy.
creepy.
Mommy.
Creepy.
Do you need a mommy, Emily?
See how much time we got. Okay, there's only about like another minute, 2 minutes left.
Do you want to play? Would you like to sing? What's your favorite song? What? What's your favorite song?
Wow.
What's your favorite song? What's your favorite song?
So, but I'm kind of a little bit skeptical on that one.
Are there people outside? Or am I? Oh, some people out there? Is nobody over there in the parking lot or anything? I'm just trying to make sure that we're not,
There are false positives.
nobody, huh?
Haunted Wolfe Manor live. Okay. Now, okay. So that was it of the investigation clips. Now the final part, if you will, it's not that long. We're gonna get to a particular section of the slideshow in which I really hate it. This kills me a lot, knowing about what happened to this place, but understandably, I had to add to this as much as I hated it. But you got to add to the history, unfortunately. So, unfortunately, now we get to the demolition section. The property and home, which was owned by Wolfe, was forced by the city to stop operating as a haunted attraction due to it being an eyesore and the cause of the neighboring property values to decline. For many years, Wolfe tried to turn the manor into a bed and breakfast, though sadly his dream has never came to fruition, as there wasn't any certainty that the building's current residents would approve. After not being able to fulfill his plans, the city decided in 2014 to have it demolished as it was identified as a dangerous building. The demolition costed around $30,000 and was still ongoing as asbestos had to be removed along with general cleanup. The decision to have the house demolished was a tough one for Wolfe. I'm very frustrated. I don't understand, he said. It has been a struggle and a battle with the city since 1997. Is there a presence in the house? Absolutely. Is there a presence in the house? Absolutely, said Wolfe. I just hope whatever is there, they could find some kind of peace. I think they stay in the house because they feel comfortable, but after the house is gone, I don't understand any of that. There's a lot of assumptions. I just don't know. Nobody knows. Wolfe felt it was a tragic loss for the history of Clovis and the spirits who may still live there. Wolfe owned the more than 1 acre lot. Wolfe owned the more than 1 acre lot the house sat on, and the city planned to place a lien on the land so that when it was sold, they can recover the costs of demolition. Now, man, this is always it always breaks my heart when it comes to these places. I actually do have a news clip of Wolfe talking about. Right before they demolished the manor. So I'm just gonna play this quick news clip that I found, and it's a really sad. It's just really sad to see such places like this go, even if they had a very dark history to it. Agree to disagree for anyone. It's still part of the city's history. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Wait, I think I might have. That's weird. I know I had some clip here before. Oh, wait, wasn't this it? Wait, hang on. Give me 1 second here, guys. Something went. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. I didn't understand why it was not showing up. Now I gotta fix this. You know what? This gives me a good. That is not where I wanted to go. All right. You know what? Actually, while I'm fixing this up, let me just see who's all, because for some reason whatsoever, I'm not seeing everybody's comments. Wolfe Manor's new to you. Yeah. It's Linda. That is a place based on what you've seen. Looks like a great place to investigate. That is a place that if I knew years ago, especially before it was demolished, I think it would have been, I would have loved to investigate there. What's going on, Michelle? Linda, yes, like I said, we're just about to get that just as soon as I get this whole screen fixed. Hey, Zach, appreciate that. What's going on, Debbie? Linda, no, it's not. Zach, you're very welcome and thank you. Thank you for all these great comments. Okay, let's try this. Now let's try this again. Hang on. We only got 10 minutes left, so we have enough. Oh, what's going on, Jeremy? Good thing I saw you right before I clicked this back into the slideshow. All right, so here is. Jeez, come on. Wait a minute, hang on. It was already here. Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but let me try. I don't know why it's doing that. Not having a little bit of a technical difficulty. All right. What's going on here? All right, let's try this again. I don't know what went wrong. Oh, okay. Now, all right. Now we got it. Okay. I wasn't sure what that was all about, but for some reason, PowerPoint was acting really weird. What's going on here now? Bear with me for just a second here, guys. Right. Okay, here we go. So here was the probably the last piece of footage ever of Wolfe Manor prior to its demolition. So here's the news clip.
Clovis resident will soon be looking. Some long dead Clovis resident will soon be looking for new haunts. The old building that was once a Halloween favorite is being demolished. That is our top story tonight at 6. Good evening. I'm Graciela Moreno.
And I'm Warren Armstrong. The empty mansion known as Wolfe Manor has been declared a dangerous eyesore, and the city of Clovis plans to make it disappear. The old mansion has sat at Santa Ana and Clovis Avenue for decades. Action News reporter Gene Anguson joins us live from Clovis, where the owner of the building is hoping for a last-minute reprieve. Gene?
That's right, Warren and Graciela. This old house could soon be gone. It's been here for almost 100 years. Started out as a mansion. It became a hospital, a nursing home, a mental institution, and a lot of people died here. Some people believe their ghosts still remain, but the city of Clovis says it's a dilapidated wreck and it has to go. Wolfe Manor's a favorite location for those searching for ghosts. But the 92-year-old mansion is about to be permanently laid to rest.
It's been identified as a dangerous building.
Not because of those supposed ghosts, but because it's become an attractive nuisance. Police have responded to nearly 100 calls here in the past 5 years. Video surveillance captured young looters. And somebody set a fire inside.
35,000.
Assistant Clovis City Manager John Holt says enough is enough.
We've attempted to work with the property owner for at least the past 5 years to clean up the property, either improve it or have it demolished, and we have not had luck in doing that. So at this point in time, the city is moving forward with having the building demolished.
I'm very frustrated. I don't understand.
Todd Wolfe has owned the old mansion
Yes.
for 17 years. He ran it as a Halloween attraction until the city shut that down in 2004. With rumors it was haunted, he opened it to ghost hunters. The city stopped that as well.
It has been a struggle and a battle with the city since 1997.
Wolfe is now asking for more time to save the house. He's hoping someone will move it. But the city has already hired an asbestos removal crew and plans to tear it all down.
They're giving me till November 3rd to get anything I want out before they bring in the trucks and start smashing the house up.
Wolfe feels it'll be a tragic loss of Clovis history. Once an opulent private residence, it became a hospital, a sanitarium, a nursing home, and a lunatic asylum, where many patients are believed to have died. He's worried where their spirits will now find a home.
Is there a presence in the house?
Oh.
Absolutely. You know, I just hope whatever is there, they find some kind of peace. You know, I think they stay in the house because they feel comfortable. But after the house is gone, I don't understand any of that. There's
I
a
didn't
lot of
expect him to
assumptions.
say the
I
same
just
thing.
don't know. I mean, none of us do.
Now, the house is for sale if it can be moved. However, the city of Clovis is moving ahead with their plans to tear it down. And Wolfe says it's not just a haunted house. He thinks it's architecturally and historically significant. But the Clovis city attorney says there's no historical significance. And Clovis does not have a historic preservation commission or a board that would look at things like this. So looks like this house is going to go within a couple of months. Reporting live from Clovis, Gene Higginson, ABC 30 Action News.
Oh, that's unfortunate. And unfortunately, those construction plans and those demolition plans exactly went to plan. I'm only just going to show a few minutes of this because I only got 5 minutes left. But here's where Wolfe Manor is officially reduced to rubble. It's definitely heartbreaking footage just to see it. Just terrible. Oh, jeez. My God. What I just don't understand is it was only Wolf that actually tried saving this place. I really wonder why no one else throughout the city of Clovis tried helping him to save this location. I just don't understand. It's just like another minute and a half here, guys. It's not terribly long. Oh, jeez. Wow. Oh man, that was definitely heartbreaking to watch. um, and unfortunately, to kind of close it up, the last slide I got here, which obviously shows what the location looks like now, as hard as it must have been for some people, the Clovis community carries on as much as it has in the past. Some try their best to overlook the evil scar in their small town, while others hang rosary beads on the fence outside to ward off the dark spirits. And that is it for that one. So let me wait, you guys are able to oh yeah, let me just see what Jeremy had to say here. Uh yeah, Jeremy, I'm just about to get off, but I appreciate that. All right, well that was quite a hard one. That was quite an ending for tonight's show. But I'm gonna get off here in just another minute. Just checking one last time for any more shout outs, just to give any more shout outs for anybody. Again, for some reason, StreamYard was just acting really weird. I wasn't able to see everybody's comments for some reason. Let me check through my personal profile. It could have been, Dad. It could have been worth saving. Absolutely. It's just like this is why we can never have historical locations like for example, out in Europe. You look at places like out in Europe, they're several centuries years old, and a place like this, it could have been like one of those places. It's just like it's like nobody cares for the most part. And actually, I got one. Actually, I just realized I had one final clip to show. This will be it for. Well, let me just see how long it is. Oh wait, we're not going to be able to get to it. I did have a clip celebrating Wolfe Manor's 100th birthday, but I do have to get off here. I just want to say very quickly, I really appreciate you guys as always coming on. I can't thank you guys enough for next week's. Now, very quickly for next week's show, we're it's interesting. It's actually somewhat kind of two locations, but it's at the same time, it's really more than one location. In other words, it is a what was that? It's Logan. I instead of turning into two slideshows, I just decided to merge them into one. Uh, the location we have for next weekend is called well, Zach, you know this because we were talking about this earlier today. Is I think it's called Cheeseman or Chesman Park out in Colorado, and which, by the way, I'm not going to say too much. I think you guys are going to find that really that's going to be a really interesting place to talk about. And then the other location that which is actually in that same neighborhood is called the what was it called? Sorry, I have the list right here. It is called. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Okay. Well, I'm not going to search this entire time to look for it because the connection's going so. No, it's not. No, it's not Brighton. It's a different location. It's a I don't remember the actual name of the location, to be honest with you guys, but it was familiar. Oh wait. You know what? No, I'm not gonna waste my time on this. Oh no, I got it. So we're gonna be looking at Cheeseman Park in Denver, and then a location within that same area called the Henry Treat Rogers Mansion, which, ironically enough, like some of these other locations that I've talked about in the past, these are among two locations that inspired two famous haunted house movies that both came out in the early 1980s. So it's going to be a really interesting one. I think you guys are going to be great. I originally thought about bringing this in along with Wolfe Manor for tonight's show, but realizing that the Henry Treat Rogers Mansion and Cheeseman Park, it's way too big of a slideshow to really kind of add. To add as a secondary edition. But anyways, I got to get off here because I think there is another show coming on the Pack channel. Again, I appreciate you guys all coming in. I'll see you guys again next week. Will be Cheeseman Park and the Henry Treat Rogers Mansion, both within the outskirts of Denver, Colorado. And thank you guys all so much once again. And I will see you guys next week. And also, one final thing I almost forgot. Tune in to our new show tomorrow night that we're going to be starting at 7:00 called Supernatural Talk. Join me, Jeremy, Eileen, and Adrian. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So with that being said, for those who will tune into the new show, I'll see some of you guys tomorrow night. And for those that are waiting to see next episode, I will see you guys next week. You all have a great night.